chime in with your thoughts. Open debate here. And we've got a lot of topics. So we got a lot of topics to get to. So if I stop you and move you on, no, F that. This is not mainstream media. Talk as long as you want. You may be interrupted, but please, open debate. Joker, who is jumping in?
Okay, I'll start off because I saw it again last night, and I think I found, for you musical fans, I found the perfect way to see it. Come in an hour late, all right? Basically when the sex scene happens, and then stay till the guilty verdict. And what you'll have is about an hour and 10 minutes of kind of a cabaret-style show of some of the classics, such as Rodgers and Hart, George Gershwin, even the Bee Gees. And you'll get that for about an hour and 5 minutes, and then you can leave.
How much did they pay you?
That was the best way to enjoy the Joker.
Chill.
See,
is there any debate?
I mean, you're not gonna be there very long.
Is there a debate as to what is there anything good in this? That's what I want to know.
There are things that are very good in this. I'll look. I hated the movie, but I will say this: the cinematography was amazing. The editing was top notch. I think.
So just turn down the volume, and you'll probably enjoy this.
Well,
movie.
yeah, I mean the acting, performance. Look here, you know what I equate the Joker to? I equate it to a chef having all the best ingredients and then burning the meal on purpose. That's what the Joker 2 is. They had all the makings of what should have been a great film. And it's like Todd Phillips went out of his way to shit on everybody who loved the first
you just didn't understand the meal you were eating and that he was giving to you.
Of course.
You just don't you understand? It was all about
the
Arthur.
shit flavor was too nuanced for me.
Everyone who says, I don't care about Arthur, I only want the Joker. And you're like, that's right. Don't you get it? We're all Harley. All we care about is Joker. No one cares about Arthur Fleck. That's right. I don't care about Arthur Fleck. He wrote him that way. He wrote a character we don't care about on purpose. And now we're the assholes because we wanted Joker in a film called Joker.
Here's the question I have.
Joker, though.
What?
Look, everybody's asking this question. Everybody's asked me this question. Was this on purpose or was this intentional? Was this intentionally bad or was it unintentionally bad? Like, I guess, did Todd Phillips just throw a screwball at Warner Brothers because he really didn't want to make this movie at all? But since they said, look, we're going to give you a lot of money, he just said, screw it, I'll just go out there and make the dumbest movie ever. Did he do it because of the toxic fans or the quote-unquote toxic fans that loved the first movie? The wrong fans liked it. They didn't get the right lessons from the movie. So I'm going to go out there and destroy the sequel or whatever. I mean, everybody's been asking me this, and I honestly don't know. I don't have any real answer. So I guess we're in speculation territory because Todd Phillips isn't on this panel. Why did this movie happen the way it happened? I think that's the big question on everybody's mind.
Beyond the obvious.
They had an absolute hit. They had an absolute hit on their hands with the first one. And this thing just fell apart. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I can't believe that a director would purposely make a bad movie just because. You know what I mean? And the reason why I say that is because making a movie is hard. It's hard. Sure. It's a lot of work. It's grueling. They're not going to do it as a joke. So what's worse is he actually did do it as an FU to the people who like
the movie was not intentionally done bad. I think it was intentionally done divisive. That seemed to be objectively what happened, going by what actually objectively happened in the movie. And they knew it because they mention it in the movie. They even have that little segment in one of the fantasy scenes where, like, hey, let's give them what we want. Let's give the fans what they want. And that's when Harley shoots Joker in the stomach. So they point this stuff out. They have every single thing that you want to see in this Joker movie was there, but in Fantasyland. So whether you, I don't know. I love the movie. I personally love the movie a lot. But I do know why people don't like it, and I understand why people don't like it because I felt the same exact disappointment everyone else did. When he's sitting there, he dragged the chair out to the courtroom. He's sitting down with the microphone. He's about to go off. You can tell he's about to go off. And then he says, I can't do it. I'm not the Joker. And I felt the same disappointment everyone else felt. Like, why isn't he the Joker? What happened to him? So what I did was I went back and I felt the disappointment. Like, this sucks. This is not what I wanted to see. And they were right, but they knew it. The writers definitely knew it, and they did this on purpose. It was intentionally divisive. But whether you think that's a good thing or a bad thing, I think that's a part up to the debate. If you look, because what I did was I went back and I looked at the first movie, the second movie, and I said, okay, first of all, let's see what they did Did they destroy Arthur Fleck's character? Was it different now? Did they do this to spite us as an intentional and malicious attack on the fans? Because how dare we like this character? How dare we like this movie? Usually it would be a yes from, in today's modern world. It would be yes. And the way I look at it is, I don't think it was malicious if that happened. I don't think it was, in this case, in the Joker, I don't think it was malicious. I think it maintained his character consistency from Joker 1 to Joker 2. If it was malicious, there would have been a strong disconnect, similar to the other example we have, which is Luke Skywalker versus Jake Skywalker, as he's come to be known. There's a strong disconnect from the Luke Skywalker, the hero, from the Return of the Jedi, to Luke Skywalker, the beach bum we see in Last Jedi. We don't know what happened to him, and the consensus I know from that discourse was that people would have been fine with this beach bum Luke Skywalker had the transition from the hero to beach bum been fine. So the hatred, the malice, the idea that it was just an excuse to hate on Luke Skywalker came from the fact that the disconnect was unsatisfactory. It was a stupid disconnect where he goes from hero to beach bum, and it didn't work. It was clearly malicious. Where here in the Joker land, I went back, and Arthur Fleck, this made sense for him to go with. It did not disconnect the same way Luke Skywalker did when he transitioned to Jake Skywalker.
Sure it did, because at the end of the first movie, he's the Joker. He fully embraced the identity, and they spend this entire movie undoing that. It would be like if the end of Return to the Jedi, exactly what happened. He was like, no, I can't do it. I'm not a Jedi. Yes, you are.
Well, he did.
But I think that was the intentional part, to build him up in the first movie, the Joker, and then to deconstruct that in this one.
He wasn't necessarily built up. Remember, in the first movie, Society and Maury Franklin create the Joker and kind of impose it on Arthur against his will, and he just kind of rolls with it. And what I liked about both of these movies when you put them together is that you actually have an overarching plot about plot with regards to society. You have society saying, you know what, it's too expensive to pay for the medication for these mentally ill people. Let's cut them off. Let's have them lash out as a result of that mental illness. Let's put them in prison, and then let's try them for the crimes that they commit with the death penalty as the result. Therefore, we basically are euthanizing them through a quote unquote legal process, and therefore they're no longer a strain on our tax dollars. Like, that is what the overarching plot between these two films are. And Arthur Fleck is the example victim of that story. And that's what I found kind of fascinating with the second one, even though it didn't go in the direction a lot of people were hoping for. It felt authentic to Arthur Fleck because he doesn't have the faculty to be a terrorist or a Joker-like character. The first three murders he does is in self-defense. They're kicking and beating him up on a subway, and then he shoots them and hunts them down. The second murder is as a result with that bullying a clown that wants to know, hey, I just want to know what you told the police about how you got the gun. And then he just takes him out. And then the last one, he planned to kill himself on the show. But when Maury was actually starting to insult him further, he then lashes out and kills him. Like, that's what it is. He is a victim who is a victim of the 15-minute celebrity syndrome that we have in society. And he is ended just as abruptly as those 15-minute celebrities are. They just vanish.
I think the one murder that they didn't really bring up, and you didn't bring it up there, was his mother's murder. Right. And I thought that's when he became the Joker. Is that when he embodied like everything that had ever happened to him from those murders, along with his abusive childhood. That's when he finally just snapped and just turned into the man that society, like you said, society, Murray Franklin and everything else had kind of been aiming him towards. So I enjoyed that from that standpoint. I thought that was a really good turn. Like, okay, so it seems like they just washed all of that away because, all of the abuse that the Joker or Arthur Fleck had dealt with up until that point in time kind of seemed to be pointing him to the fact that he was going to become this character and that he was going to fully embrace it. And now it's like, well, I don't really embrace it. And I just was along for the ride, even though I murdered my mother, I murdered a friend, I murdered, 3 innocent people. And then I shot a talk show host on live camera. It's like, it seems like that should have had not a positive impact, a negative impact that led him even further down into darkness. But it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to go in a different direction. And I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, well, I don't think I buy this. I don't really buy this.
But that's if you leave out the first half of the movie. The first half of the movie is about fanaticism. It's about a guy who is embracing imposter syndrome, embracing a role that he doesn't deserve. He gets the girl, he gets these followers, he gets the fame, and then he gets graped in prison, and then that all changes.
Well, stop using our toys to tell these shitty stories, please.
My most controversial Joker 2 take is that he doesn't get raped.
Yeah, he just goes in with his pants on, he leaves with his pants off.
No, that scene in full context, that scene is after he goes to the courtroom, and then he on national TV he calls the guards big fat stupid idiots or something like that. And so he gets back, they're obviously angry, and then of course like Lisa, or I think his name is Brendan Gleeson, does an excellent job being this awesome like security guard, very threatening. The idea in that scene was to you could argue it's like a metaphorical, because what they're trying to do there is disarm him. They made it very clear that you think you're wearing that face paint makes you better than us. It's all an act, Arthur. Behind that is Arthur Fleck. There is no Joker. So they wipe off his paint, they strip him of his clothes, and they take off his confidence. Kind of what the metaphor of the Joker is for Arthur Fleck is. That's his confidence. That's his confidence striking through the docile Arthur Fleck. And so they strip him down and they wipe.
They don't strip him down. He's fully dressed. They take him in. They say, strip those rags off him. When he come out, he's wearing all of his clothes except for his pants.
But and also that's to re-traumatize his childhood.
They kind of reset Arthur Fleck to what he really was, because the opening cartoon is very Jungian in the fact that his shadow self kind of takes over because of the fame and adoration that he is seeing around him. And then what you get at the end of that cartoon is the police just beating the crap out of him because he's not really that guy. I mean, passenger. Like DA, you make an interesting point with regards to you expecting him to embrace the Joker. Well, I have to ask you this question: what can you define what the Joker is, and does that definition fit into something that Arthur Fleck is capable of achieving?
Well, I thought that was the growth. Yeah, I think again that's where you take this film and you grow him even further into that role. You know, it's not necessarily like he has to be the guy that he always was. Again, he's in a transformational period right now. And so if I'm the writer of that, I'm like, okay, like I thought what was interesting is that, you know, he seemed to be embracing some level of nihilism where he's just like, I don't give a damn anymore. I'm just going to destroy my life. I don't really care, you know, because of everything that's happened to him. And he finally snaps when he kills his mother, and he's moving forward into this nihilistic phase where I'm just going to kill everything and I don't give a damn. So I felt like, okay,
he's going to kill anything. He says he has.
Well, I mean, he kills, or, you know, he has his mindset of he killed his clown buddy. It
wasn't his buddy; it was the clown bully. Remember?
Oh, the bully. Yeah, I'm sorry, bully.
Beating him up.
You're right.
On the subway, they're not innocent by any means. In
fact, no. Those guys
self-defense.
But
the buddy,
but the kind of character he was prior to that, right? Who was he prior to that? He was somebody that just took it. He just took it. Now he's not taking it anymore, and now he's just like, I don't give an F. I'm just going to go and do what it is that I need to do at this point. And I felt like that's the Joker. The Joker is chaos. The Joker is, I don't care. I don't care what happens. I don't care who I hurt. I don't care, you know, what happens to society. I'm moving forward with my agenda, and whatever that agenda happens to be in the moment, that's who the Joker is. And so I thought that this character would embrace that. And then when suddenly, you know, the Arthur Fleck side that always maybe wanted somebody to love has been, you know, struck by Harley Quinn, who steps into his life. And now all of a sudden it's like, hey, you know, all of a sudden I have someone that cares about me. That's someone that loves me. That's someone that looks at me in a different light. How would that affect his Joker persona? That's the story. Maybe I came into this hoping to see that. That's the story I was interested in seeing, because I thought, that's going to be interesting. A guy that has this nihilistic mindset suddenly going into, I have something to live for. I don't need to be nihilistic. Here's a person that cares for me, even though she just wants him for the insanity of the Joker. I thought that would be an interesting, you know, topic to explore. They really didn't do that. They just said, you're just going to be Arthur Fleck again. You're just a nobody. You always have been a nobody. And, you know, Harley Quinn just really didn't fit in with this movie. Honestly, I don't even know why they had her. You know, they could have just did it.
He represents the thing he's always wanted, a girl.
Right. Yeah, but then he doesn't
even get any girl. I mean, like Harley Quinn, there's nothing about her that was Harley Quinn.
There's nothing about him that was Joker. I mean, this is not a Joker Harley Quinn canon movie.
See, that's my problem. Is I get that stuff. I get that it's not. The problem is that you're going to use these names, you're going to use these characters, but it's not supposed to be.
Stop letting them use our toys.
which is
Yeah,
kind
I'm
of a
not saying you're
commentary
wrong,
on
Dante.
Hollywood. Stop making original stories but putting the IP veneer over top of them. Be authentic to the character, because the Harley Quinn character in this movie, she's a hybrid between Courtney Love and Amber Heard. She's the siren, like she is the siren, leading them to leading the sailors to their doom, because she wins him over through song.
Sang through his heart.
Yeah,
it's always, she represents the temptation, which is a very powerful point of the hero's journey. The hero always encountered the temptation, and that's kind of the point where they make or break. If they fall towards temptation, they will fail their heroic quest. They will become a villain, usually. And he failed big time, because not only is Arthur Fleck uniquely vulnerable to an affectionate woman towards him, he is defenseless against that. He has no defense. One thing he's always wanted. But on another note, going back to the murders, I went back and looked at the murders after I watched Joker 2, and one thing popped out, and he's not a murdering psychopath in the way we think the Joker would be. Every single one of those murders was personal. The first three, they were beating him up. They're self-defense. He shot them all in self-defense, except for the third guy, where he's just outraged and like, how dare you do this? And he finished them off. So third guy's debatable. But who else does he kill? He kills the bully, the guy who bullied him and like gave him the gun and then blamed him for having the gun. Just put it all on him. It's like, how dare you betray me? And then the other one he murdered was his mother, who really betrayed his trust and his mentality, saying that, just Thomas Wayne this, Thomas Wayne that. And he just really eventually grew to hate her, because he read all the crap that she allowed him to go through, and just felt this sudden surge of betrayal. And that's why he killed Murray, because in the beginning of the first movie, we see that Murray is betrayed. Like, he sees Murray as his father figure. Like, he has a whole fantasy element where Murray's like, I wish I had a son like you. I'd give this all up if I just had a son like you, Arthur. And I used to live with my mother too, and all that stuff like that. So at the end, the ultimate betrayal, when he learns that it's just Murray doesn't see him as anything but a piece of a prop to make money from. And you know what, Murray, you wouldn't even think about stepping over me if I was just dead in the street. So every single murder in Joker 1 was personal to Arthur in some way, as opposed to him being a Joker-style psychopath that kills indiscriminately. So I thought that you think he would embrace that later on, but it doesn't really seem to fit his character, more or less. He definitely could have, but he chose not to in the end. He thought about it. In Joker 2, there is a fantasy where he's going around the courtroom, bashing in the head of the judge, and so we know the writers know that what we want, that what we want to see Arthur Fleck do, and they put it in the movie. But that's not Arthur Fleck. He realizes this later on, that this is not Arthur Fleck, and he's not a murdering psychopath. He killed those people because it was personal to him.
That's great, and we all understand that, and we still don't like the movie. And why call it Joker if you want to do it, bro? Are you trying to explain why you like it, or trying to help us understand why we should? Because we understand all of this. It's still not good.
Part of criticism is to say why you like something, or why.
I get it, but I'm not
to convince you to like it. But I'm just saying what I liked about it.
That it's a Joker in name only, and that he's never Joker. And it's an Arthur Fleck.
I think that was true from the first movie too. It was Joker in name only.
Right.
Yeah, I think Gary said it on FNT. If you're going to play in someone's sandbox, there's still rules you have to follow. And when you don't follow those rules, that's when you get into situations like this.
True. And that's what I said earlier, which is that, again, the only way Todd Phillips was able to make Joker originally is by calling it Joker, because nobody wanted it when it was just a no-name script. So now we've got this commentary with this sequel that says, hey, this is why you should let us do our own thing, because now you've got an audience that is incredibly disappointed and upset with this movie. The one thing that actually kind of made me more accepting of this film as I was watching it is the irony of the subject matter at hand, which is that in normal media of Joker, Batman comics and whatnot, Joker is constantly deemed unfit to serve trial for his crimes, and he's thrown away to Arkham. Yet here we have Arthur Fleck, who is clearly not competent enough to stand trial, yet they compel him to do so, and they give him the death penalty. And I'm like, that's kind of funny, because in a normal world, people would be judges, psychologists would easily be able to say, this guy is mentally damaged. He is not fit to stand for trial for these types of crimes. He needs to go to a hospital, be heavily medicated, be heavily supervised. You don't try to dispose of him through the death penalty. But that's what they do in Joker. And I'm like, that's a clever inversion. That at least tells me that the people working on this movie were paying attention and wanting to have fun with doing it differently. And there's authenticity in that. It may not be crowd pleaser, which I completely understand, but at least it's not them saying, let's turn this sub 90 IQ guy from the first movie and make him a criminal mastermind where he's destroying the entire city, Bonnie and Clyde style, or Paul Bernardo style, for those Canadians out there, and just run with it. Because I think even though it might be a crowd pleaser at the start of the its run in theaters, I don't know if it actually be satisfying at the end of the day, because they'd be so different films.
I think that the Joker isn't a criminal master, or this version of the Joker, like a possible version of the Joker, would be a criminal mastermind. I think he would literally be chaos. Like, just let him be chaotic, and his followers and his minions and all the people that are out there following him, they're like, like they had the guys that picked him up at the end and said, "Yeah, man, let's go." Like that kind of thing would be happening. Like, Joker or Arthur Fleck would literally be Mr. Magooing his way through this entire situation, where he's not really the mastermind, but he's insane and he's crazy, but he has his followers and people are kind of, shepherding him where he needs to go. And maybe it's just by luck, or maybe it's just by happenstance, but things start to work out where he becomes the Joker, where he's literally like, chaos happens and I'm at the center of it, and it all works for my benefit. I thought that would have been a really cool way to kind of finish this thing. Even if they killed him at the end, through some sort of a, he's in a heist or whatever. I don't know. But at the end of the day, he remains the Joker. He's still the Joker. He's still that same mentality that we saw in the first film, because that's what worked. And I think people would have bought it. But musical and Arthur Fleck is just, the same guy that we found at the beginning of the first film. I don't think that worked.
DA. They couldn't help themselves. They couldn't do what you just said, which would have been fine.